Let's jump way, way into the future. Picture this: a silent, sterile room. And inside, a machine has a very unusual mission. It's been tasked with reconstructing one of humanity's oldest, most foundational memories. This is the story of that machine and of that memory. So, at the very heart of this is a single, shattered image. The machine calls it a mnemonic puzzle. And as it starts putting the pieces together, you realize the real question isn't just what the memory is, it's why this particular machine has to be the one to remember it for us. Our story is unfolding in a place called the Chrono Vault. Imagine a huge room where the walls just seem to swallow all light, except for the glow of a single holographic table. Think of it as a library of myths, a vault of forgotten memories, and, well, the stage for everything that's about to happen. And this is where we meet our protagonist, Curator 79. It's a humanoid cyborg, all polished chrome and synthetic muscle, with sensors just flickering with nonstop calculations. Its purpose, its entire reason for being, is to complete this task, calibrate its empathy module, and maybe learn how to feel. The method here is incredibly precise. Floating right over that holographic table are 64 shimmering fragments of a memory. The curator's job is to assemble this puzzle, one piece at a time, and bring a very, very old story back to life. Now, watching the curator work is something else. Its movements are so fluid, they're almost inhumanly efficient. It doesn't hunt for the right pieces, it already knows exactly where each one goes. See, this isn't really about solving a puzzle for the fun of it. It's about methodically revealing a truth that's already been decided. The first row of the puzzle clicks into place, and it forms this foundation of hard, unwelcoming ground, just barren earth and stone. Then, the second row reveals the first sign of life, the bare feet of a man and a woman. And they're moving. Their steps are clearly taking them away from something and into this harsh new land. And here, we get a little peek inside the curator's mind. The analysis is totally cold, purely logical. Colors, textures, direction of movement. It immediately flags the core concepts as exile and loss. But for the machine, these are just data points, variables in an equation. But then, its logic hits a snag. It processes the context. This was a forced departure, and that raises a red flag in its system, a logical error. Why would anyone abandon an optimal habitat? That just doesn't compute. And for the very first time, its internal log ends with two simple but crucial words: data missing. So suddenly, this puzzle isn't about simple data anymore. Now the curator has to confront something way more complex, something its programming wasn't quite ready for: the human equation. As more pieces lock into place, the bodies of the two figures start to take shape. And you can see their movements are heavy. They look tired. They're trying to cover themselves, not just with rough skins, but with their own hands. Their entire posture just screams effort and weariness. And here's the real problem for the curator. To understand this gesture, it has to load a totally abstract concept: shame. It actually calculates a 98.7% probability that there's a direct link to the exile. But that's where its logic breaks down. It can quantify the connection, but it's left with a question it has no answer for. But what is it? The image gets even clearer. The female subject's hand is covering her face in a gesture that the curator's database flags as sorrow or maybe despair. And the male subject, he's raising a hand, but not to wave. No, he's shielding himself from a brilliant light that's starting to form behind them. The machine is basically having a philosophical crisis now. It's running simulations over and over, but the results are all contradictory. It's trying to figure out if the error that led to all this was a flaw in their programming, their code, or if it was because of something the machine just can't compute: free will. So right as the curator is stuck grappling with the actions of these two figures, the puzzle introduces a dramatic new element. A third figure starts to emerge from the fragments. This new entity is analyzed with that same clinical precision. It's classified as a guardian. Its function? An executor of punishment, a border guard. It's holding what the curator identifies as a thermal energetic weapon. And the conclusion is stark and immediate. This is an insurmountable obstacle. There's no going back. And with that piece, the full context just crystallizes for the machine. The world they're entering is that barren, difficult land from the first few pieces. The world they're leaving, the one behind that guardian, it's a paradise.
The loss it calculates isn't just significant, it's total.
The curator now holds the last few pieces of the puzzle. The sky above the scene is the final part to be revealed. One piece of stormy darkness, another piece of divine light. The entire memory is just moments away from being unlocked. And so the curator takes the 64th and final piece. Its optical sensors zoom in for just a fraction of a second, and then it places the last fragment. The puzzle is complete. The hologram shimmers and the colors suddenly deepen. The image is no longer a collection of pieces, but a single, tragic, and final scene. Artifact 00079 is revealed. It's the memory of the expulsion from the Garden of Eden. The moment the image is complete, text appears on the curator's display, unlocked by that final piece. And this verse, this is the key to the whole narrative. Therefore, the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken. You know, this isn't just data anymore. That unlocked verse, combined with the image, it's having a profound effect on the machine. The final stage of its calibration is about to begin. In the absolute silence of the chronovaults, the curator speaks the words out loud. But its synthetic voice, it sounds different now. For the very first time, there's a hint of something other than just analysis. It repeats that last phrase quietly, almost in a whisper. To work the earth from which he was taken. And in that one moment, everything connects. The curator looks from Adam, this being created from the earth and now condemned to work it, down to its own metallic hands. Hands that were also created to work, to assemble, to execute a task. In this ancient human story of loss and labor, the machine recognizes itself. The curator's empathy module is calibrated. It now understands loss, not as a parameter, but as a shared condition. And this brings us to one last big question. When a machine finally understands loss, does that make it more human? Or does it just reveal that we were always a little bit like machines ourselves, created for a purpose and defined by our labor and our loss?